Hi, I'm going to show you some screenshots taken from the new Finmore. This used to be the Transact Card MLM from one of their Facebook groups. People are openly questioning and challenging what they're being told not to, what their peer group is trying to enforce. This is what happens in cults. And so I've got six screenshots that I want to share with you. Thank you so much to the person who sent them to me. I appreciate you. And for the first set, I want to, after I show you this conversation where you have somebody come in, somebody within the commercial cult, and try to keep everybody in line, and how this behavior illustrates so beautifully some of Robert J. Lifton's 8 criteria for identifying the existence of a thought reform program. Now, that sentence I just read, part of it is from Rick Alan Ross's Cults Inside Out. And what I did is I found a website and I've put that in the source for you in the description below so you can go and do your own research. And I'm going to share with you what I think really exemplifies what's going on in all multi-level marketing commercial cults, but particularly in this conversation with these Finmore participants. So let's just let these screenshots do the talking for themselves. This first one says, so somebody has posted, any idea on how we can get the manager grants that are owed? I requested one check 3 weeks ago and I still haven't gotten it. Plus I have another 7 or 8 that have never showed up in my back office. I sent a support ticket on January 20th and another on Monday and still no response. You wouldn't think that this would be something that is considered negative and hateful and even going against God. This seems like a reasonable question, and it is. But when you're in a commercial cult, any questioning of the group's doctrine, ideology, you're not allowed to ask any questions at all. Even when you're owed money, it's still your fault. The gaslighting is just wild. So then somebody else says, following, I'm owed money with no response as well. And now here we go. Now here we have somebody who's still deep in the cult. And who knows if they're in another MLM at the same time. As much as you've bad-mouthed Finmore, I figure you'd have left this grouped page. Get immediately on the attack. Isn't this incredible? This has cost me more than it has cost you, yet I'm still here wanting to save others money with a debit card that doubles their buying power, a card that doesn't exist still. That's why you lost my respect. I came aboard for those people and not caring what it cost me. This self-sacrificing, I'm so much better than you. I came aboard because God told me to. How could I ever lose my passion for those who need this debit card with these rewards that will save them money in the Finmore marketplace, which still doesn't exist? The cards don't exist. This marketplace doesn't exist. This is all going on faith. And you know that first question was quite reasonable. There's no other way it could have been phrased less offensively because it wasn't offensively phrased to begin with. People aren't getting paid. They're sending a support ticket, not getting a response. Somebody else indicates this is happening to them too, so they want to follow to see if there's going to be an answer. You cannot do this in a commercial cult. So you can see this person isn't even employed by the company. This is just another participant. This is how, when you wonder how people can be so easily controlled and manipulated when they're in a commercial cult like an MLM. It's because a lot of this stuff goes on indirectly. This is quite direct, but indirectly in the fact that it's not like always just this charismatic leader telling you what you should or shouldn't be doing. Once the behavior is kind of set and everybody knows how they're supposed to behave, you have this kind of thing going on. And this is common. It doesn't matter what MLM you're in. I've handed shoes and food and backpacks filled with supplies to hundreds of homeless people on the streets. And what does this have to do with people not being paid? And a card that still hasn't been come into existence. It never happened with Rev Card. It never happened with Transact Card. And I doubt it's going to happen with Finmore. So what does this person having handed out shoes and food and backpacks filled with supplies to hundreds of homeless people on the streets have to do with any of this? Nothing. This is just to like morally beat down any objection, any critical thinking, any questioning. There is no questioning when you're in a cult. Isn't this wild? God made that possible because I had a vision. How dare you doubt my God? that told me jump into this after I spent hours in a parking lot in September doubting it too before he said do it. Well, I have a news flash for whoever said this. That wasn't God telling you to join a multi-level marketing company and to talk down to people that are supposed to be your brothers and sisters in this amazing family of Finmore that used to be Transact Card. You think that's godly behavior? This is so messed up. You see how dark and twisted this gets so fast. And this is over a stupid debit card. This company still has that passion that you lost. Cards are coming, and so is Christmas. All cards, pocket change a month for now if people want it. Those savings, they'll gladly. All cards will also give them trust in this company because they'll see that it's just a rewards program and not some sketchy thing. It is a sketchy thing. This is a scam. It's a fraud. It's a pyramid scheme. And this weird, like, proselytizing, they will believe. They will trust. No, they won't. More people will trust in their own bank and that card with their rewards program attached than just switching banks and accounts because of all the negativity that you've helped spread. You see that when you get your mind off of what you're owed. See, it's your fault that you haven't been paid by the company. How dare you question? Once you get your mind off of the money that you're owed and the fact that Transact Card never delivered on what it promised and did do a bait and switch, trying to recruit, not telling people that did know that it was changing into Finmore, not telling their participants to don't recruit because we're changing into a brand new company in February. No. They encouraged their representatives, a lot of their participants, to continue to recruit right up until the last moment. And then surprise, we're a new company. Surprise, Transact Cards never come to be. Now it's going to be Finmore. But it's your fault for pointing out reality. This is cult behavior. You lost the passion because you are owed money and think people won't choose a simple and cheap way to save more than it costs them until we and they can have a Finmore card in our hands. I heard you say on your live that you doubt there will ever be a card. Man, Peter is working his ass off to make this happen for those people, and so we can make enough money to not even care about the few hundreds we can think about. I hate that you lost your faith. This network marketing, this multi-level marketing cultic fraud that is Finmore, that used to be Transact Card, is conflated with your belief in God. It's this religious thing that goes on. It's so weird. So now I'm going to show you a few screenshots of what I believe this brief conversation illustrates from Robert J. Lifton's 8 criteria for the existence of a thought reform program. And you don't, it doesn't necessarily, you have to have all 8 of these criteria. I'm not going to show you all 8. I encourage you to go and do your own research and look into this. But I'm going to just show you some slides that I think really illustrate this well. And the first one is the demand for purity. We saw in that conversation that the world becomes sharply divided into the pure and the impure, the absolutely good, the group ideology, and the absolutely evil, everything outside the group. Remember, this was prompted just from someone asking when they were going to get paid, getting this check, and somebody else following. They sent a support ticket and they haven't heard back. And that aggressive response. Okay, this third bullet point, tendencies towards guilt and shame are used as emotional levers for the group's controlling and manipulative influences. So this does control other people's behavior in the group who are too afraid to post or too afraid to comment. They're looking at what other people are commenting, and they might be happy when they see someone who's saying something that they want to say, but they're too afraid to. But then they'll see how they're being treated. So even an observer, there are people that are so controlled that you're never going to even see or hear about because they never posted in these groups. They just are sitting back and they're watching and they're changing their behavior to conform to the group norm. Okay, this next slide is sacred science. The totalist milieu maintains an aura of sacredness around its basic doctrine or ideology, holding it as an ultimate moral vision for the ordering of human existence. This sounds like hyperbole, but as you can see in that conversation, that person that was defending a card that never came to be from Transact Card, defending Finmore, which hasn't delivered on anything it's promised already, is deceiving people, is lying to people. And you have to believe, because this is going to save people. I have handed out backpacks and shoes to hundreds of homeless people. How dare you doubt my God? Questioning or criticizing those basic assumptions is prohibited, as we could see. A reverence is demanded for the ideology or doctrine. The originators of the ideology doctrine, the present bearers of the ideology doctrine. I don't know, there's another word. Is it ideology or is it ideology? Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. So you need to have reverence for the belief that Finmore is going to come to be, that people are going to trust in it, that they're going to, this is going to be something that's going to change their lives. The originators of this, this is referring to Peter Rancy, who was brought in for Transact Card. Who knows what he's up to with Finmore, whether he is now the CEO or what have you. And the present bearers of it. These are the participants, and particularly this individual that's on a rampage in the Facebook group, trying to whip everybody into line. No questions allowed in a commercial cult. All you good little cult members, got to make sure I remind you how to behave here. This is about behavior, information, thought, emotional control. And this one, doctrine over person. So look at this third point. If one questions the beliefs of the group or the leaders of the group, one is made to feel that there is something inherently wrong with them to even question. It is always turned around on them. And the questioner criticizer is questioned rather than the questions answered directly, or accused of, being losing faith, that you're attacking them just for asking a question. This was just about a question being asked. One is made to feel that doubts are reflections of one's own evil. When doubt arises, conflicts become intense. Yes. Dispensing of existence. Fear manipulation. If one leaves this group, one leaves God, or loses their transformation, for something bad will happen to them. So you can see this one part. If you've even just asked a question, you've lost your faith, you've spread negativity, you doubt this other person's God, and the group is the elite. Outsiders are of the world, evil, unenlightened, etc. Now, in multi-level marketing, it's like everybody is a hater that criticizes. There is no legitimate reason to leave a cult. There's never a legitimate reason to leave. There's always something that's wrong with anyone who leaves. It wasn't for them. They didn't try hard enough. They didn't believe in themselves enough. They really weren't consistent. They set out to prove that this wouldn't work. They self-sabotage. So those are just a few slides that I wanted to show you. And I know, this might be your first introduction into this topic of cults and Robert J. Lifton's 8 criteria. So I encourage you to do your own research. Go buy, you could buy this book anyway. You could buy Robert J. Lifton's book. You could buy Stephen Hassan's book, Freedom of Mind, or Combating Cult Mind Control. Because it's a lot more complicated and intense than just these few slides and a couple of screenshots. But as someone who was within multi-level marketing for 5 years, they're all the same. A cult is a cult is a cult. If you've been in one, you know what I'm talking about. And if you've been around anti-MLM content, you know exactly what I'm talking about too. Okay, here's the next 3 slides I want to show you. And I keep looking at them and I'm thinking, do I have them in the right order or not? And my eyeballs are just going around and around in my head. So if I make a mistake, I apologize, but I've looked at them a few times and I don't know why I for some reason, am not understanding if I'm putting in the correct order or not. But be that as it may, I think we can piece it together and figure out what's going on. And really what's going on is a bunch of gaslighting and accusation and typical cult behavior. So whatever was said prior in this particular thread of this particular Finmore group, and this is a different group, this is the first pushback that is being received by a cult defender. They agreed to the terms and conditions when they signed up, knowing there was not a product, but rather a service. Easy Power was available and usable. Asking for a refund outside the time allowed that you agreed to day one is just wrong. Well, it's not wrong. This is a bait and switch. They're a part of a pyramid scheme. Richard Smith had tried to launch that thing called a Rev Card. Rev Card never came to be. Then he's part of Transact Card. Big surprise, Transact Card never came to be. And now it's Finmore. And people are wondering, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. But coming in with such like aggression for someone that's probably saying, it's like, how do I get this refund? It shows how brainwashed people are, and how once you're brainwashed, the people in the group, just like how I was when I was within multi-level marketing, we do our own policing of the group without realizing any criticism is perceived as an attack, and like it's more than a threat, it's an attack, and it's attack on ourselves and this holy entity. Although if you had have asked me, I wouldn't have said this isn't holy at all, this isn't religious, you're just a hater. Have some morals and integrity. The irony of this person saying that, look, just trying to shame any questioning. Did you ask for a refund after eating a place you didn't like? You decided you didn't like 2 months later. This has absolutely nothing to do with what's happening with Finmore and Transact Card. Eating at a restaurant isn't being recruited, deceptively so, into a cultic fraud that is multi-level marketing, which was Transact Card, and now it's Finmore. So people were hoodwinked. They were hoodwinked even if Transact Card had have delivered, because they were recruited into a pyramid scheme where their failure is inevitable. And most of the money that they're making is going up to the people up every level, all the way up to the top. This has nothing to do with like eating at a restaurant. You should be removed from this group for giving such dishonest suggestions. Well, my God, the moral outrage of this individual. Oh, the morals, and have some morals and integrity. Shame on you for having such dishonest suggestions, says the person in a pyramid scheme, recruiting more people into the pyramid scheme and saying, trust me, bro, the Finmore card, this time it's going to be a reality. And this person says, sounds like the ship is sinking. And now this person, this is heartbreaking, says, it is so embarrassing. If you look up to the top of this screenshot, there's more, there's a new conversation going on. So this is still in response. So I was just like obscuring people's names just to give them the dignity, you know, even the people that are scamming people, because I really do want to see them wake up and get out. When I know people know what they're doing, it's clear, like the people at the top of these pyramid schemes, no, they get their names shown, they get their faces shown. But these people who are pretty deep in, it's like, no. Anyway, this person says, I guess you think all of Fifth's big name companies that have changed their name along the way executed bait and switch also, right? Amazon, Google. Amazon and Google is nothing like Transact Card. It's so funny that MLMs cling to any form of legitimate business to try to describe what they are. Multi-level marketing participants can never describe what multi-level marketing is because it's a fraud. They always have to use the biggest, the brightest bauble. So they'll use Google, Amazon. We're just like them. How are you just like them? Because they changed their name. That's the only thing you have in common. That's it. When you have one thing in common with anything, that doesn't make it the exact same thing. I would hate to see how you react every time you open a credit card statement, just like the dripping with accusation and contempt. Boy, this person's probably a real peach too to work with. And they have changed their terms and conditions, which they all have done in the last few years. It's like comparing apples to oranges. Okay, this one's a really funny screenshot. And I don't know where it was in the comment thread. I saved the best for last, so this is what I chose to do. So somebody had written patience is a virtue. And then here's the person that's just really aggressive. I used red because I'm like really angry. Prove those accusations. Never have I heard Peter or either of the other two founders mention anything of Barack Obama or LeBron James. They have said celebrities and organizations. Well, whoever you are that has said this, I have proof that this happened, and we're going to watch it right now.
One question we were asked is if the card can be white labeled or the DBOs, and that's one of the things that actually appealed to us is the way you're bringing on influencers. They're branding their own Visa card. And I mean, maybe the two of the biggest are the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention. You took it to Trump and then he took it to Obama, from what I've heard.
That's exactly right.
It was really smart because whether you like Trump or Obama doesn't matter, but he said if we don't both support this, then one of us is going to kill it, right?
LeBron James was a fascinating one, and I'm the one that took the call, so I'll tell you that story. I like telling the stories because most people can start to relate with, wow, this is something big here. So it was about 18, 19 months ago, I talked to LeBron James. Talked to him by myself, just him and I and one of his agents. And basically, he told me the story about what he did with Twitter. He calls his followers on Twitter his peeps. So at the time, he had 25 million peeps or 25 million followers. He tweeted out a 2-for-1 Domino's pizza and sold over $13 million worth of pizza with that one tweet. They gave him $1 million and they made $13+ million. And it was a very successful Twitter campaign. Once he fully understood and grasped what we were doing with the Transact ecosystem and the fact that he could have his face on that card. Now, granted, we're not just going to let anybody have their own card, their own face on their card. Somebody that's got 10,000 or more clients, yeah, we'll go through the rigmarole to get approved with the banking structure and with Visa to have a branded card. So yes, that's a possibility. But he came in and said, all right, I want to call mine the championship card and I want to tweet it out. And let me get this straight. I'm like, okay, LeBron, what? Every time somebody swipes, I get paid. I said, yeah, 10 basis points. You're going to give me 1/10 of what interchange pays back. I said, not 1/10, 10 basis points. He's like, that's a lot of money. I said, it can be. And he goes, no, that's a lot of money. And I'm like, it can be. And he goes, and you're going to pay me that forevermore? And I said, yes, we are. And he's like, can I move my merch into your Z Club? And Patrick, I'm like, merch, what the crap is he talking about? He was talking about his merchandise. So he's got his swag. And swag. He's got his swag, and he's going to discontinue it with all the retail establishment and the wholesale distributors that he's been dealing with and move it into our Z Club so that his peeps can swipe the cards, get a better discount than they can get anywhere else for his merchandise. He'll make a bigger margin. Everybody's happy. Plus, he kept going back. Now, if they go to Disneyland and they swipe the card, I'm getting paid. I said, yes, LeBron, you're getting paid. He goes, this is the most incredible thing in the world. Well, that was, like I said, 19 months ago. And just a couple of weeks ago, I got a call from his executive secretary saying, where are we with this thing? I said, you need to go talk to your people because your agents and your attorneys keep slowing down the deal.
And then these last two comments say, denied, this is going to go over like a lead balloon. And then someone else says, I lost rank over people quitting. If you're a Finmore Transact card casualty, I'm happy that you got out or you're in the process of getting out. And welcome to the other side. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.